Hello class, my name is Kurt Bennett. Our proposition is that the Gun-Free School Zone Act of 1990 should be repealed. The Gun-Free School Zones Act of 1990 amends the Federal Criminal Code to impose criminal penalties for the possession or discharge of a firearm in a public elementary or secondary school zone. According to the FBI, the term mass murder has been defined generally as a multiple homicide incident in which 4 or more victims are murdered within one event and in 1 or more locations in close geographical proximity. The significance of our proposition is that American primary and secondary schools are too vulnerable to mass shootings. On February 14th, Nicholas Cruz entered the campus of Majority Stoneman Douglas High School and conducted one of the deadliest school shootings in U.S. history. 14 students and 3 staff members were killed as Cruz fired off shots from his AR-15 rifle and teachers and students barricaded themselves in classrooms. In 1999, 2 high school seniors assaulted Columbine High School, hoping to kill as many people as they could. The day ended with 15 dead, 21 injured. These tragedies occurred because gun-free zones do not work to prevent mass shootings. Ken Blackwell of the Washington Times said, "Gun-free zones are purported to forestall gun violence, but in practice they attract deranged gunmen like porch lights attract moths. Why? Because deranged gunmen are crazy, not stupid. An identified gun-free zone literally advertises the ideal environment for committing mass murder. Most mass shootings don't end until the police arrive. Killers typically have several minutes to slaughter as many victims as they can without fear of interference." Tom Traco of American Thinker said, "Think about it. Rapes are often perpetrated using brute force or drugs, but no one would ever think that posting signs declaring pickup bars to be no rapist zones or no date rape drug zones would reduce rapes. Gun-free zones are based on the voluntary compliance of the very people who are about to commit the heinous crimes. In the real world, people who are about to murder strangers are not likely to adhere to gun control laws of any sort. Gun-free zones attract mass shooters. The Crime Prevention Research Center analysis of mass shootings shows that from 1950 to July 10, 2016, 98.4% of mass shootings occurred in a gun-free zone, with only 1.6% occurring in areas where citizens are allowed to carry firearms. John Lott, an acclaimed gun control analyst, and Thomas Massie, a Kentucky congressman, said to the New York Daily News, "Killers consciously select defenseless targets. Just look at the statements by the attackers in the 2015 Charleston, South Carolina shooting and the 2012 theater shooting in Aurora, Colorado. Last year, an ISIS sympathizer planned to massacre a church in Detroit. The FBI recorded him saying, 'It's easy. A lot of people go there, plus people are not allowed to carry guns in church.'" Gun-free zones do not work to prevent mass shootings. Kelly Hansen, a special education teacher in Utah, said this after the Sandy Hook massacre. "It broke my heart to think that all the teachers could do was huddle their kids in a corner, stand in front of them, and pray that nothing was going to come through that classroom door." Our proposition to repeal the Gun-Free School Zones Act of 1990 would help to solve the problem of school mass shootings because arming teachers would reduce the threat of mass shootings in the U.S. primary and secondary schools. An FBI study of active shooter incidences between 2000 and 2013 found that 44 of 63 shootings could have been determined ended in 5 minutes or less. The NRA states, "When a threat occurs, a quick and timely response by law enforcement is what everyone hopes for. We strongly believe that trained school personnel also serve a vital role." There have been so many cases of citizens with guns stopping mass shootings. One such case is in Pennsylvania in 2012. The suspect accused of killing one man and wounding another in a Plymouth bar shooting was stopped from his rampage when another armed bar veteran shot him multiple times. This is from the Chicago Tribune. In April 2015, An Uber driver had had a concealed carry permit and acted in the defense of himself and others when Eduardo Custodio, 22, began firing into the crowd. The driver pulled out a handgun and fired 6 shots at the man, hitting him several times, according to court records. Responding officers found Custodio lying on the ground bleeding. No other injuries were reported. In Winnemucca, Nevada, in 2008, Ernesto Villagomez killed 2 people and wounded 2 others in a bar filled with 300 people. He was then shot and killed by a patron who was carrying a gun and had a concealed carry license. In March, Police One conducted the most comprehensive survey ever of American law enforcement officers' opinions on the topic of gun control. The overwhelming majority, almost 90% of officers believe that casualties would be decreased if armed citizens were present at the onset of an active shooter incident. And more than 80% of respondents supported arming schools and teachers, school teachers and administration who willingly volunteer to train with firearms and carry one on the course of the job. Remember, the respondents to this survey are the very people who are called to the scene when a shooting occurs. Think about this. Would you put a gun-free zone sign up on your house? Hopefully not. We should not be posting them on our schools. We need to protect the children of America, not advertise their vulnerability. So, our plan is to repeal the Gun-Free School Zones Act of 1990 in order to remove the barriers preventing teachers with firearms training and certification from defending the lives of our children. Thank you.